Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode of Bareham Engines. So it's Boxing Day. I hope you're all chilling out. I expect you're lying in the couch there, not even been able to eat another mouthful. Hope you had a wonderful Christmas day. But we are back, as promised. Give you something to watch for a quarter of an hour, I suppose, while you're dossing on the sofa. But yeah, lovely to be back, guys. And as I say, I hope you're having a great Christmas holiday. First things first, we're going to be joining Paul here, and we're going to be doing a little bit more on the Renault V6. John's sorted. So, Paul,
look at that.
5 in, 1 to go.
1 to go. Just making sure these are.
It's very nice. You see the new pistons are all in.
Ooh. Lovely. So this is a slightly different engine than normal, as we had to put all the pistons and rods in.
Okay.
Then we put the crank in afterwards.
Right, okay.
Because you can't, the crank ladder over here, or block, get to the big ends.
I see.
So put the piston rods in, and we'll drop the crank in, and you bolt obviously the rods to the crank, and then you can put the block on.
Okay.
So it is.
Well, I tend to do the V's a bit like that anyway, because when I remember I did I think it was a Rover once when I did it that way, and loads of people in the comments told me I shouldn't be doing it like that.
Well,
but with this one, like you say, if you can't do the big ends up, that's the way you've got to do it. It's a little bit awkward because you find that rods are flopping in the way and
flopping about.
But
well, I mean, we had the luxury of the fact we did the bearing clearances, and I bolted the crank in without the plastic gauge, and it spins fine by hand. So we know what those bearings, those mains, it's going to spin fine anyway. So
ideal.
I'm not worried about that at all.
So what about the pistons? Everything all right?
Yeah, the pistons are fine. Obviously, these are slightly different to the standard ones. We've got the cutouts bigger than the inlet, so we have to make sure the inlets
slightly higher compression. The crown's the same, I think.
They're the same crowns.
Yeah.
But obviously, just the cutouts are very slightly different. That's it. So they should be the same compression ratio.
Yeah. Bore size, we've measured the bores are about half a thou over the original size.
Yeah.
And these new pistons measure getting on a thou less on the skirt than the originals. But they do say in the book that you can run, was it 3 thou?
3 to 4 thou running clearance.
Depending on the application, you can run a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you run a bit more clearance for forged pistons anyway, because they tend to grow.
That's right,
more, so.
And this is supposedly a competition engine, so.
Yeah, so a bit more clearance ain't going to hurt. I mean, you just got to give it a bit longer to don't thrash it from
That's
cold.
it, yeah. So. But I did hone it out yesterday. You can see the bores have cleaned perfectly. There's no lip up the top.
Bores looking brand new.
No ovality there. So he's given this a thorough clean. Lick of paint there.
I don't think this engine's done many miles, to be honest with you, before it got rebuilt.
Probably not.
I think it was fairly good inside. I mean, the original problem was the cracked ringlands, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
But I think we put that down to a bad map or something.
Maybe.
So, well, I think I did.
I mean, some of these original pistons are a bit fragile anyway, so if it's been used as a bit of a track car or whatever.
They can't be any more fragile than Nissan pistons.
No.
So
yeah, no, coming together nicely. The heads are all done, aren't they?
Yeah, the heads are in that box down there.
But this was the main thing, really, getting these bearings sorted before Christmas. I wouldn't have been able to sleep properly, so yeah, happy with that, mate. It's looking good. So, regarding the last video and the bit on the Audi A5 and the engine that we did, 10 months ago, went off to the tuners. The tuners have said to the guy, thing is smoking, we can't take it any further. He obviously wants to tune it. That was the whole idea of us doing the engine in the first place. This is just in case you haven't watched the last video. So the customer has got in touch with us and he said, look, this is what my tuner said. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to speak to the guy that does the actual tuning. The only person he's been able to speak to is the guy on the front desk who, by the sounds of it, doesn't really know anything about the tuning. So yeah, one of those scenarios. The last video, the customer is either telling a few porkies to try and get something done for free or whatever, or he's trying to pull the wool over his own eyes, or he genuinely has not really read the invoice or remembered what we've discussed. So what we discussed was, when the car was here, We had the car on the ramp. This is when we had Carlos back in the day. Carlos took the engine out. The car was only in really to change the pistons and rods for H-section rods, forged pistons. That's usually what we do on these TFSI type engines. It was a lot easier to get the engine out of that particular vehicle to do that job. So we got it on the engine stand, we took the cylinder head off, and then we rang the customer and said, look, you've got two options here. Obviously, it's been a fairly extensive job just to get to this point. You can strip the engine completely and rebore it and put a set of oversized pistons in, or we can just stick a set of pistons and rods in at standard size. We've measured the bores. The bores very rarely measure anything but perfect on these TFSIs for some reason. They seem to, you know, obviously it's to do with the standard mapping. They obviously wear really well. So I said, yeah, they're your two options. We can just chuck some pistons and rods in, go through the head while it's off. So in effect, it's like a head gasket job, bar taking the engine out and putting it back in. So it's up to him. That was the option he went for. And as I say, that was last February, well, this February just gone. So whether he's got cross wires or what, I don't know, or whether he's just sort of playing dumb to it, I don't know. But basically, he's been in touch with his tuner, and the tuner said that they can't go any further because the car is smoking under load. So I had no idea what what they were trying to tune it to, what boost they're running it through. I had no idea what breather system they're running on it, whether the standard one was still on, whether it was man enough. All these questions needed to be answered. Unfortunately, as I say, he hasn't been able to get into, to speak to the actual tuner guy or the technician. And I said, look, put him on to me. He didn't seem to want to do that. So we're at a point here where, you know, what do you do? Where do you go from here? Now, after I did the last video, I did notice quite a lot of comments there. There's a few haters coming up. Firstly, they're saying that, you know, Barham engines, we always seem to get warranty jobs and try and get out of them and this, that, the other. If you actually watch those videos properly, guys, if you watch our videos properly, we're not trying to get out of warranties. It's just the whole point of the channel really on that warranty side of it is to try and just to explain to people the technicalities and the you know, it's not just straightforward warranties with some of these jobs and an industry like ours. It's, you know, there's a lot of factors that sort of go into whether it is under warranty, whether it isn't. It can be an absolute nightmare. And that's the idea of them really, to show you guys. I mean, most of the ones we put on there, if you actually watch, it's not down to us. That's the reason they're on the videos. If things go wrong for us, if we have a warranty, job that is down to us, fine, it's going on a video. If we have a job or a machining process that we made a mistake on, it's going on the video. You know what we're like, so we're not trying to hide anything. For the guys that watch the channel and say, you know, all they ever seem to have is issues and warranty comebacks and that, this is the idea of the channel, guys. This is real life. This is not, it's not a film set where we just show you all the goods and all the glamour and the, you know, the trick engines at the end of it. We want to show you what it's like to actually run a business like this. That's the whole idea of it. So if it's not for you, if you're sick of seeing it, there's plenty of things to watch on YouTube, guys. But anyway, so after that video, give you a little bit of a recap there as to what has actually happened. Very, very strangely, just after I recorded that video on Thursday, I had a phone call off the technician from the tuning place. Now, he said, he's rang me up and he said, oh, the customer said you want to speak to me. I said, yeah, basically, at the moment, you've got your customer who's piggy in the middle, and he doesn't really understand. He's not technically minded at all. He didn't know anything about engines. So me trying to explain to him potential issues like breather issues or anything like that, you're peeing in the wind, really. So it'd be ideal if I could speak to you. So having spoke to him, he said what it's doing, it's not smoking all the time or under load. He said occasionally it smokes mainly on the down, on the sort of overrun. And he said it sometimes smokes on idle. So it's not consistent. It could be a breather issue. you know, something like that. We did go through the cylinder head. Actually, I noticed a couple of guys in the comments that really know this particular engine. They did say that they do suffer with guides in the cylinder head, but those guides have all been done. So the cylinder head, as in, you know, overrun, if the guides are worn or the stem seals are gone or both, on the overrun, when the engine's under vacuum, it can drag the oil through the guides from the top of the cylinder head into the bores, and then when you put your foot on the accelerator, you get a big puff of blue smoke. So, but it's not doing that. So whether it is a breather system, whether it's turboed or what, but I did say to him, I said, look, these are the facts of the original invoice, really. There is a disclaimer on the bottom of that invoice saying that the guy chose to do that. We didn't recondition the engine. And when I sort of told him this, he said, no, I didn't know that. Basically, the customer had said, oh, well, Barham Engines have done have reconditioned the engine. And what they've done, he said, well, I suggest if it's still in warranty and they've reconditioned it, take it back to them. So by the sounds of it, at the moment, the tune in place is sort of innocent, sounds innocent. But it's one of those situations, guys, where we're not trying to get out on anything. You've got to stick, like you guys have suggested in the past, we have to stick to what has been agreed, what is on the invoice, what's been done. So at this stage, I've said to the customer, look, you know, whether these tuning guys do it or you send it to a garage, really it's nothing really to do with us. If you want to send the car back to us, we don't particularly want the car, we'll have to have the engine out. If we do have the car, we can look at it, but we shall charge the same as what any other garage charges to have a look at it. And just bear in mind, if the engine has to come out or has to come apart because there's something internal wrong with the engine, as in the rings haven't bedded in or anything like that, it isn't under warranty and it's going to cost you. So at this stage, I would suggest that they go away, check the breather system, all the rest of it, and just everything external to the engine. So that's where we've left it, guys. That's what they're going to do straight after Christmas. So at this stage, we don't know. It's a bit of an unknown, but we're going to leave it to them and we will report back to you just after Christmas when they speak to us, I suppose. So we've turned the block upside down now and you can see the triffid of rods there and the issues you're going to have putting the crank in there, Paul, isn't it? It's trying not to score the mains journals.
Well, I think it might be a two-man job.
Do you think?
I think it might be, and then we've had to get Isaac on the camera maybe.
So that is probably why people recommend not to put the crank in, usually, like on the other V8s, before you put the rods in. But I'm sure with all our hands here...
Sure, with all our expertise, we can do it amongst us.
That's right, yeah.
Just about. Just making sure the rods are in the right way now. Using the manual.
Oh, you're checking now you've got them in, yeah?
Yeah, well, I should have done it.
So you've got the caps over there numbered, mate. I'm sure that means something to you.
It means something to me. Doesn't mean anything to you.
No, okay, that's
watching.
fine. I shall trust you on that.
But there is a method to the madness there.
I'm sure.
Thanks, mate.
All right, buddy.
Yeah, so I'm pretty much ready to lay it in.
All looking spiffing at the back there. Look at that.
Spiffing.
Thoroughly cleaned.
Lovely
I expect
clean.
nothing less from Paul.
Thank you, mate.
Looks very nice. So next step, use all our hands, get that crankshaft in. Is that cleaned?
That's been cleaned. I blew the holes through.
Looks like you're running low on brake cleaner there, mate. You want to top that up in a minute?
No, that's fine. Didn't use any brake cleaner. Well, just a small amount. Okay. So
there's the old boys there. Look, the legends.
The legends of the engine world.
Legends of the engine world. Bless them.
One's a legend of a hammer.
Meet John. Let's try and get this crank in with just 4 hands, Paul.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? Get the back end or?
Yeah. Wonder if it will go in like this. Oh no.
So you just got to be careful not to score the journals.
That one's got to go out that way. That's got to go that way.
That one there.
There we go.
Gives me fingers. So, now what we do, if we push all the pistons up.
I was like, that one's got to go.
Look at this, look. them all up.
Beautiful.
It's all right, mate, isn't it?
Look at that. What a faff that was.
What a faff. There we go then, mate. Cradle on now, isn't it?
Yeah, leave the caps off. And we'll plastic gauge them. Or plastic gauge one, maybe. That's it.
Nice. Cheers, mate. So, guys, there she is. The Renault V6 is all pretty much done. Paul has worked very, very hard on this. He's checked every single clearance you can. We've checked the ring gaps, the whole shooting match. And that bottom end is pretty much all intact now. I'm really, really happy with that. All pumps all new. The cradle, this is the cradle here. So you can see there, that's where the cradle joins the block. So the cradle is pretty much the similar depth to the block. So it plays, although you've got this sump on the bottom, which is a very, very narrow sump, the actual cradle at the bottom plays most of the sump as well. So the pickup will go right down into the base of this sump here. But no, looking fantastic, looking like brand new, really happy with all the clearances. The new pistons, can't thank that company enough for producing those pistons so fast. And this one is all pretty much on the way, guys. As I say, really, really happy with all the bearing clearances. That was bothering me, to be honest with you. Before Scott delivered all the bearings, I was sort of a little bit worried about that as to what bearings he's going to be able to supply, what's meant to be in it and all the rest of it. But can't thank Chris Ince enough from Renault for supplying me that book of tricks. Really, really helpful. And yeah, so we've got the box down here of all the sort of ancillaries to go on the block, all new bolts and all the rest of it. The cylinder heads are down here looking absolutely spiffing. And yeah, just after Christmas, so probably the first half of January, guys, this one's going to all be done. So I'm really, really happy with the progress on that. Well done, Paul. Top job, mate. Well, guys, that's it for another video. We shall be back Wednesday, so look out for that. As I say, we're not back really officially till the 3rd, but Paul and I are going to be in doing another video for you, just to give you something to watch in the Christmas break. But until then, thanks ever so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you again on Wednesday. Cheers, guys.